I do not do it for fame. I do not do it for you. I put myself through the pain. Time to start.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come in, come in, come in. This is Tamika's Den. I am Tamika. Get on in here, y'all. Get on in here, okay? You are now in the den. Kick off your shoes and relax your feet, honey. So, guys, this is my review recap for Sistas. My Boyfriend's Back, Season 5, Episode 2. And listen, my beautiful people, my tranquil claws, my, wonderful, delightful fireflies, powerful ones and quiet ones. We are all gathered here today, all right? We are coming together, y'all, because I need y'all help. I need somebody to make it make sense for me. If you know what the heck is going on, please put it in the comments and break it down for your girl, because I am starting to feel like I'm on a freaking merry-go-round, okay? Merry-go-round. That was my song, Key Sweat. Anyway, y'all, right about now, we have to relax, relate, release, breathe in, okay? Inhale, exhale. I know I need to. Either that or I need a hard drink, because these people are driving me freaking crazy on Sistas, okay? We need Karen. Karen still needs to get help. Hopefully, Mama's back in the, you know what I'm saying? Mama's back in the house, so maybe she gonna get Karen all the way together. She ain't working fast enough for me. And Angie, we need her to get just, I don't even know, okay? Shake those brains around in her head a little bit so she could get back down to reality, because it seems like everybody is just reverting, going backwards, and I'm trying to understand it. I don't know what the heck happened to Preston. I used to absolutely adore him. And just like with some of the other characters, all of a sudden we get this random switcheroo where Preston is being a freaking dodo bird out of nowhere. And that is not usually how he is, guys. But let's take it from the top. Let's get into this episode. I do not think this is going to be a long review, because it wasn't much to it. And I just would like to get through it. To be honest, I got a splitting headache. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and break it down. Now, Danny is basically saying, why are you doing this now? Why are you doing this here? I'm at work. This is not the time or place. And I have to agree with Miss Danny on this one, okay? She is basically like, you come here telling me this story about this chick and saying that you're going to marry her. What am I exactly supposed to do with that, right? And on top of that, throughout all the time that we was talking, you never even mentioned this person. But now all of a sudden, this is supposed to be this important person that you had this relationship with, that you took a pause on, okay, to go and see what else was out there in the world, and now you want to go back to her and marry her. What part am I missing? And how do you not mention something like that? And he basically says he's sorry and he loves her and he needs to know the answer. Oh, well, if you're saying that, does that mean that you want me to leave? Does that mean that you don't care? Does that mean that I should just go ahead and propose to her? And I'm like, Preston, in my DJ Khalil voice, you are playing yourself, boy. You played yourself big time. What is going on? Like, I used to love you to death, and I don't know where this is coming from and why you acting like this. She's telling him she can't talk to him in front of all of these customers, and he's basically like, listen, just tell me that you don't want me to marry her. At this point, she's getting mad. She's like, I don't care. She was like, Preston, I'm at work. Preston, I'm at work. I'm at work, and I'm damn annoyed with you, and I'm getting pissed off with you. This is another reason why I get annoyed with you. And, he's basically like, so should I take that as a yes? And it's like, Preston, really? Oh, okay, so I should marry her then. She's like, yes, then do that. Go ahead and marry her, okay? Have fun. Go and do what you're doing, right? And that'll just be the end of it. And so, he's still talking, and she just was like, listen, you want to go home, you want to marry somebody else, why the hell are you still standing here talking to me? He's talking about, because of what you always doing, Danny. Every time I try to get close to you, she was like, again, I'm at work. Again, I'm at work. Again, I'm at work. So then he's going to say, well, let me see you at home or whatever. And she was like, you know what? I don't want you to do that. I swear I don't. She was like, it's always something I don't do or I do. And it's always going to be a problem, whatever the case may be. And then he gets into, Danny, I'm just trying to tell you that I love you. I'm just trying to tell you I care about you. She was like, no, what you're doing right now is driving me freaking crazy. Okay, that's what you're doing. And so basically, he ends up basically saying, well, that's not what I'm trying to do. And she was like, can you just go? Because that's what you're doing, all right? Can you just get the heck up out of here? And so he was like, well, still trying to say, can he wait till she get off? Now he changes it to that. He was like, I'll wait. That's what you should have been saying in the beginning, Preston, okay? So at this point, she's like, just go. And she actually starts getting on the verge of tears. And he was like, all right, Danny. And he walks away. So now the same guy that was there with his girl, and they had her, or wife, ex-wife, soon to be ex-wife, whatever it was, that was there at the airport that was cursing her out. We have him walking up, giving her a tissue, saying like, isn't love crazy? And he was like, listen, I've been there and did that because, I was married to this lady, and at one point it was love. And, you're going to find somebody that really cares about you and that is going to work out with it. And Danny was basically saying like, yeah, she knows she will, right? And she's telling him, thank you. She's okay. And he was like, no, no, no. You know what I'm saying? You, doing your job or whatever, and you're here at work. And she's like, it's fine. So, she ends up telling him that his flight is ready and that she could actually bump him up to first class. And he was like, girl, are you trying to have me, with even more problems or whatever the case may be? He's like, oh, really? For real it is? And so she gets on the loudspeaker and was letting, everybody know that the plane is there. And he taking out some pen and paper, writing his number. So he was like, you could call me, if you want to. And I'm like, seriously, dude, this ain't the time to really be trying to get a rap in. But I guess that was the whole point of having them on the last episode with her going off, because that part of the episode really didn't make no sense to me as to why they needed to have her there cursing Danny out, right? So in the meantime, he trying to get his rap on. Now we have Karen still here at this hospital, and at this point, Pam comes to the hospital and she bumps into her mom in the hallway, and she's like, okay, I just wanted to check on her real quick. I had closed up the shop, made sure everything was good with that. Pam's mom had told her, Karen's mom had told her, I'm going to go see what's going on with the doctor. He was taking these test results so long, I'll be right back. And when she went in the hallway, of course, she bumped into Pam coming in. And so she's asking her what she's doing there. And she's like, oh, well, I closed up the shop and everything, and I just want to stop by here and make sure that she wasn't here, by herself, that somebody was with her. She was like, I see you here, so I'm out of here, okay? Ain't no reason for me to stay. She's basically like, I just wanted to make sure that at least somebody came, because I didn't want her to be here by herself. Listen, give Pam her credit, okay? Give her due. Pam stepped up. She taking care of the shop. She been looking out. She didn't tell nobody nothing. So Pam is all right with me, okay? Can't blame it on Pam this time around. So she, Pam mom let her know, I just got here. She was like, good, I'm so glad you're here. Then she was like, since you're here, then I don't even need to go in the room. Can you just let her know that I came, because your daughter been being evil, all right? Now, in the meantime, her mama was like, well, hold up, wait a minute. First and foremost, what is going on? Tell me what's been happening with my daughter. And she's like, girl, I ain't one to gossip. She like, really, Pam? You the first one, okay, to spill the tea. Tell me what is happening, what's really been happening, what's going on with her. So she basically tells her, child, well, it could be Zach, okay, or it could be Aaron. She don't know which one it is. That's got her really upset. She's all in her feelings and mad as hell. She really don't want it to be Aaron's, because she still loves Zach, but Zach already done moved on. But I don't tell other people business. So she said, well, you done told me all of that, but you don't think it's too much. She like, girl, never mind. So when Pam was saying, could you just let her know that I came and I'm leaving? She like, no, you could go in and tell her yourself. So Pam go walking in, and of course here go Karen. Oh, Pam, didn't I tell you not to come? She like, girl, I just was coming by to check on you, but I see your mom is here and she got you, okay? She's like, I closed up the salon, everything is okay there. And she's asking her, did she call anybody or tell anybody about her being there? She's like, no, I didn't, but just so you know, Aaron and Miss Andy did come by looking for you. Do you want me to call them? Do you want me to call anybody? I could call them and let them know, but I don't have to make it seem like you're the one that told me to call them, right? And she's like, girl, I love you or whatever, right? And saying how she's exhausted. And so first, Karen is just saying she really don't know what she want, right? No stalker there. We all know you don't know what the hell you want, girl. So she was like, I'm not too sure what I want right now or what I want yet. And then she tells her, okay, yeah, you can call them, right? And she was like, do you want me to do it here? And she's like, no. And so she was like, do it without letting them know that I'm the one that told you to do it. So when she was saying them, did she mean Zach and Fatima, because I was a little confused as to who them was. Like, did she just mean Zach and Fatima? Did she mean Zach, Fatima, and Angie or Aaron or whoever the heck? You know what I mean? But I guess Pam understood her because she was like, okay, girl, I got you. That she was going to call them, okay? So moving on from that, you know, she got ahead to leave or whatever the case may be, right? And we basically had, you know, Zach there rubbing on Fatima's feet, and he gets a call that, you know, from Pam with her letting her know that she's in the hospital, and he's like, what did the doctor say? And she's like, they're still waiting for the results to come back. And Zach is like, thanks for the call. So she was like, you not coming up here? And he was like, ain't that why you there with her? And she was like, yeah, me and her mother's there. She's like, okay, so then she don't need me, she's good. So Pam was like, I think she does. And then Zach is like, no, she don't, and whatever, right? And so she's like, oh, Fatima got you on lock like that. And Pam, you know, she was like, the rest is history or whatever the case may be. And, you know, Zach is like, exactly, that's what it is, history. And she was like, wow, it's your baby. You could at least come see about it, you know. And he's like, Pam. And then she was like, she wants you here. She don't want him or whatever, right? And then he's like, that's not my problem, you know. And then Pam is like, well, I'm trying to hold you. And he was like, okay, I gotta go to Wi-Fi, Pam, or whatever. And he hangs up. Now, Zach, you could have made sure, too, at the same time, I know you haven't got the confirmation yet, what's going on, just in case it is your daggone child, you know. But nonetheless, you know, Fatima was like, you know, is that about Karen? What's going on? Tell me or whatever. And he was like, he's not going there. And he's saying, no, you're going to get mad at me. And she's like, I'm not. Why would I get mad? And so he basically was like, are you kidding me? I could tell just by the way you asked that you're going to get mad. And so she was like, yeah, I'm very self-aware, whatever the case may be. So she's like, just come on, tell me. So he's like, all right, Karen is in the hospital, right? And she was like, for what? What's going on? And he was like, I don't know. I'm here with you. So she was like, well, is she okay? And he was like, I guess, yeah, she's bleeding or something. And it's like, Zach, really? And she was like, even she said, seriously? And he was like, yeah, that's what she said. She was like, all right, so you need to go. He talking about, no, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to rub on your feet. She's like, Zach, seriously? He was like, no, I'm not going. I'm pretty sure that Pam would tell me if something was going on or whatever. And he's like, come on. So Fatima was like, you sure you don't want to go? He was like, no, I'm not going nowhere. I'm going to stay here with you. So she's like, okay. And he was like, give me your foot. He goes back to just, you know what I'm saying, rubbing on her feet. Then she got her arms folded. And he was like, don't do that. Don't get quiet. So she was like, look, I know y'all been through a lot or whatever, but I don't want her hurting. And he was like, I'm not going anywhere or whatever, right? Still just saying that he gonna stay there with her. So she was like, okay. He was like, I'm not. Dang. So she was like, Zach, this could be your baby. He was like, it also could be the preacher's baby. Why didn't she call him? And she's like, okay, whatever you say. He was like, plus her mother's there and Pam is there. Relax, okay? He was like, come on, I'm just trying to rub your feet and hang with you or whatever. So she was like, well, apparently she didn't call Preacher Man, so why don't you call and let him know? And he's like, I'm not calling that fool or whatever. No, I'm not putting my foot down. I'm not doing it. That's the end of that. We setting boundaries, right? And this is a part of the boundaries. So he was like, I'm not trying to be cold about it or whatever, but we got to, you know what I'm saying, make sure everything is straight. So she was like, I get it. He was like, I'm trying to have a nice dinner and a nice night. Just come on. And so I'm like, I get what he's saying on one hand, but on the other hand, at the end of the day, you still could check on her. You still could check on her, Zach, okay? And I wouldn't be okay with that. I would have something to say about that too, especially when bleeding is concerned, all right? But nonetheless, he basically calls Deja because the music was blasting or whatever the case may be. And, you know, he like, can you turn it down? And he's like, thank you. He was like, no, I don't need to come over there, Deja. Just keep the music down. You know, Fatima's looking like this once he said that. I said, Deja, you better calm your behind down. And then the next thing you know, Fatima snatched that phone and was like, he's fine, girl. He don't need you. What we need you to do is just turn that daggone music down. She was like, I'm telling you, I'm going to beat her ass, okay? I said, Lord, Deja, you going to be the next on the list. Okay. And so he's telling her, like, you don't need to lose your temper. I don't know, what's going on? You're so calm all the time. And she was like, I'm telling you. He was like, I see you just calm, cool, and collective, cool team or whatever. Zach always got to be a jack behind it. She's like, Zach, be quiet. So he was like, can we just get back to our evening? And she basically, was like, yes, here he go kissing on her, whatever the case may be. So I said, okay, fine. Now that's making a little bit more sense to me, because I was like, well, why would they think that Zach called him? Zach and Aaron have no type of friendship, and I didn't know anything about him even having, Aaron's number, or Aaron having his number. So I wouldn't see why that would even come out her face, like when we see her saying that from the preview. But anyway, moving on along, we have Danny calling Andy and Andy saying she was just about to call her. As a matter of fact, before Danny called her, freaking Gary Raggedy behind had called her. And he's asking, can he come over? And I'm like, I'm confused. How could you be asking if you could come over somewhere to somebody that you just was trying to sue that told you not to come? But apparently Andy asked over here talking about if you make a list like this movie I seen, and you put all the bad things on one side and all the good things on the other side, then I will let you come over. Okay, so Andy still ain't learned either. And so Danny is calling her on the other line, and she clicks over to her. And basically, of course, Danny is worried about Sabrina, trying to see if anybody heard from her, saying that she's worried. And she tells her how they was doing this investigation on them about the robbery. So she's not sure if she's locked up. And Andy's like, nah, I doubt it. Like, no, what are you talking about? Like, that's not Sabrina. She wouldn't even be mixed up or anything like that. So she's saying she's going to go over to Maurice's house, and Andy is busy telling her, like, no, I don't think you need to do that. Do you really think you need to do that? She was like, I'm sure everything is okay. And then she asked Andy if she can make some calls, and Andy's like, sure, she can. She'll try to, see what she could do and do her own little investigation, and she'll get back to her. So she's like, okay, cool. She was like, but I seriously don't think that, Sabrina could be involved in anything like that. Like, I'm telling you. She was like, are you serious? Are you being really serious right now? And Danny's really worried, like, so you think they could have possibly have arrested her? And she's like, no way. So I'm like, well, damn, Maurice and damn Sabrina ain't getting no damn type of call yet. Okay, but at least, I guess they have asked worrying about them out here and noticing that they have not been around for a while. And then Andy brings up to her, like, well, have you seen Karen or heard anything from her? Because I haven't been able to get a hold of her either, and there's definitely something going on. And she says, no, she hasn't heard from her. So, she basically was like, Andy, last thing she tells us that she's going to look into it. So now Aaron comes to the hospital, and Pam is like, what are you doing here? How the hell we was here? What's going on? Because I ain't tell you where she was at or whatever the case may be. And he's like, don't worry about it. Where is she? She's like, well, you found your way here. You can find which room she's in. And she asked him as well, like, did Zach tell you? And he's like, no, Zach ain't telling me anything. So now when he walk in the room, Karen's reaction is shit. She mad that he walking in, and he like, really, Karen? And she's like, I'm sorry, but I don't want you here, right? I wanted to be alone. She was like, who called you? Did Pam call you? He's like, no. He said he got a text. So now, did the doctor text him? Because that's still, supposed to be patient confidentiality. We got HIPAA laws. Like, what's going on here? Because remember, the doctor is the one that basically was his friend that he set her up with for her to come here. This looked like it was the same place that he came with, the first appointment that they had. So is the doctor texting him? Because he just keeps saying he not going to tell her. It don't matter. Just know that he's there and that he wanted to make sure that she was okay. And I was like, okay, Aaron, you being a little funny too. Like, you could let her know who the hell told you. She was like, stop playing with me. That's what's making me even more upset. If you don't want me to be upset, then tell me who called you. But now she's basically assuming that it was Zach. Like, because she goes, was it Zach? No, he wouldn't do that. Had the same reaction that Pam did. But then she like, oh, it was Fatima. That's who it was, because she have all y'all information and all y'all numbers, and she works at the job with Andy. So that's what makes sense. And he's telling her, no, it wasn't Fatima. So do y'all think it was Fatima? Put it in the comments, right? Because Fatima was advising Zach that he should go ahead and hit him up too or whatever, right? And she was like, oh, I got something for her. She gonna stop messing around. So she go ahead and pick up the damn phone, and he steadily telling her, stop, stop, stop. What are you doing? It wasn't Fatima. And she's like, excuse me. And she's calling Fatima phone. She's not answering because her and Zach is over here chilling. He's singing your favorite part coming up, and they laughing and hugging and, all cuddled up on the couch. And then she was like, stop, look and see who's calling. That's what Fatima says to Zach. And Zach, she's telling them they calling back to back, so it might be an emergency. So he's like, listen, we ain't answering no damn phone. And she was like, now your phone is ringing. So she go ahead and she pick it up because he put it back down like, oh, hell no. She was like, answer it. Come on, don't do that. You can't be playing games like that. It could be something important. He was like, no, I'm not answering it. I'm going to let it ring. So she answers it and has it on speaker. And Karen is like, Fatima. And she's like, yeah, hello, yes. And so here go Karen. I would appreciate it if you would mind your damn business. And she's like, Fatima's like, excuse me. She was like, yeah, you calling around town telling people that I'm in the hospital. I don't like it. And Fatima's like, Zach, talk to this girl. And he's like, she's saying she don't want to talk to her. In the meantime, Karen talking about, you gonna tell that little down dirty bitch. And then, Zach get on it. He like, yes, Karen. He's like, damn, Karen. She was like, tell your bitch. And he was like, listen. Because Fatima was like, oh, I'm a bitch again now. She was like, tell your bitch. And Fatima's like, get your girl. She was like, tell your bitch to stop telling my business. That's none of her business. And he was like, first of all, she didn't call damn Aaron. And he was like, you the one that's calling around to people acting like a damn, lunatic. And then she gonna say, you know what, Zach, F you. Okay, good night or whatever. She was like, oh, you not even gonna ask me if I'm okay. Not one time did you say, are you okay? So she hangs up the phone. Now, Fatima, of course, is pissed. She's staring at him. He's like, I told you not to answer the phone. Now put your feet back up. And she just like this. And he like, now what? What? She was like, let me ask you something. He's like, God, go ahead. She was like, do I have anybody calling here? Any of my exes calling here and causing shit? He's like, no, you don't. She's like, so I shouldn't have to deal with any of yours. You need to get, this shit in line or whatever the case may be. You need to handle this. He talking about something, can we have a good night? And she's like, and he's like, what? She was like, we be having a good night if you set her ass straight. He talking about, I know. She said, then why haven't you? He's talking about something I did. He was like, to a point. He was like, look, you the one that said that we still had to deal with her until we found out what's what. And he's like, really, Fatima, really, really, really? And he was like, come on, don't do that. He was like, we having a good night. And she was like, look, I don't feel like dealing with this. I'm tired. He was like, now you tired? She was like, yes, I'm tired. He was like, Fatima, this ain't even my fault. And she just turns around and looks at him. She picks up her shoes and was like, she going upstairs to the bed and was like, handle this shit. So he's like, come on, baby. And then he's like, all right, I'm going to handle it. I'm going to handle it. And he's like, and screaming in the damn pillow. Meanwhile, his phone is basically, buzzing again. And he was like, I'll meet you upstairs. I got it. So I say, yeah, Zach, you got a whole bunch of stuff that you need to handle, honey, that you are not handling right, at all. And you should have been putting Karen in her place, okay? And so in the meantime, Karen's still sitting there looking with her damn stink face, got an attitude or whatever the case may be, and she's arguing back and forth with Aaron, telling him that she don't want to be bothered right now. And I'm like, Aaron don't get it either. Like, I know he means well, but at the end of the day, Pam and Andy did, advise you and tell you that already. You literally went in the office and Andy was like, Karen is a person that needs her space. If she told you that, then why would you go to the damn hospital? You could have made a call and found out if she was okay or not. You didn't need to pop up there. Now, at this point, her mother comes in the room, and of course, she's seeing her upset. So she's like, Aaron, you're going to have to leave, and I'm going to need to have, speak to you too, because you in here stressing out my daughter, and that I'm not going to go for. And Karen going to talk about, I'm okay. She was like, no, obviously you're not okay. Look how your blood pressure is going up, and that's not good. She was like, I'm going to need you to step outside, and I got to talk to you. And then basically told, Karen to go ahead and calm down. And he was like, yes, okay, saying he's sorry, and he stepped out the room with her. So now Gary raggedy ass come to Andy house. Oh wow, you done changed things or whatever. She like, yep, you like it. And she was like, what was that about? You over here trying to take me for a daggone, lawsuit and all of that different kind of stuff. And he's like, I don't know what was on my mind. She's like, oh, did you bring the list? I want to see your list or whatever. Oh, I'm embarrassed to show my list, And finally she gives him hers, and he gives him hers, and his is just one little thing on this tiny little card, whereas hers is like on a notepad kind of paper, whatever. And he's like, oh, I know you probably have a whole bunch of bad things about me. And he's reading it off, and he's like, yeah, I'm all these things. What do you want me to say about it? And then when she's looking at his, she's like, wow, yours is so short, or whatever the case may be. And he's like, yeah, because you're perfect. It's not that many complaints that I could have about you. So then he gonna turn around and talk about some damn because she was like, I think you should get ready to go, because he's still saying how he could change. Then same old story, y'all. Nothing different, right? I could change. I could be better. I could make those things go away. And she's like, no, you can't. We've been there, did that. We just keep repeating things and we don't get nowhere. So he was like, oh, so you think I should, get ready to go? And she was like, yes, I do. She was like, you could go ahead and leave. So he talking about some, basically start leaning back like, oh, I'm hard. I said, huh? How we get from there to I'm hard? And she's like, okay, that was TMI. I didn't need to know that, or whatever the case may be. And he was like, yeah, well, why you looking? I said, okay, yeah, Andy, I have to agree with him. Why are you looking? So he talking about, so I can't have you. And it's like, oh, I just can't stand Gary. I just can't stand Gary. And I don't understand how this turns her on. And he was like, she was like, no. And she says, and now you're pissed. She says, you don't want me, Gary. You want the penthouse. You want the car. And you were willing to sue me for it. You want to sit here and look through windows and peep at me. And he was like, oh, that's why you got the blinds up on the windows now. And she was like, yes, I do. So, basically he's still telling her he can make her happy and all of that bull crap. And then when she's telling him to leave, instead of him leaving, he getting up and taking off his clothes, and she's smiling, but at the same time talking about, I told you to leave. I told you to leave. What are you taking off, your stuff for? Y'all know I'm through with Andy, right? Y'all know I'm through with freaking Andy. I'm so freaking over this girl. I don't know what the heck to do, okay? So he's going to say, I'm reminding you of, like, the reasons why you kept coming back. And then he starts kissing on her. And they get to kissing and taking off their clothes. And now Andy done forgot everything and she ready to get down. In the meantime, Karen mom tells the doctor that she's going to be there with her. She's going to be helping her. She's going to be making sure that she's getting good rest. Okay, apparently all Karen needs is bed rest. She's okay. She's going to have to take a little time off of work. And Karen is saying, yeah, that she could go ahead and do that or whatever, right? And we basically see that Zach is asking for Fatima if she wants him to go to the hospital. She like, boy, do whatever the hell you want to do. Go to the hospital, stay. I don't care. At the end of the day, I'm going to sit here and get my behind in this bed and go to sleep. And he was like, how I know you full of it and you not going to sleep. You still got your makeup on and you still got that wig on. You ain't even wrap it up. Zach's always got to be silly. So he's like, I'm tired of all of y'all. I'm going to get all of this straight. I'm going to go down there. I'm going to see what's what. He calls Pam to see if Karen is still in the hospital. She's like, no, she went home already or whatever the case may be. And then she's like, why, you gonna go there? Yeah, you should. And still trying to talk. And he's just like, bye, Pam, bye, Pam, bye, Pam, bye, Pam. And he hang up the phone on her. So we get Zanny going over to Calvin and just asking, have he heard anything from Maurice? Do he know, what's happening with Maurice or anything like that? And he's like, no. She was like, can you call him? He calls. Of course, it's going straight to voicemail. So he was like, Danny, you worrying me. What's going on? And she starts to tell him about the whole thing with him and Sabrina, because she like, have you heard from Sabrina? He was like, no, I tried calling her, but I wasn't getting no answer with her either. He was like, you don't think they could be mixed up in anything and nothing didn't happen to them, right? And she was like, right now, it's not looking good, okay? They were saying that it could be a possibility of them being investigated for this daggone robbery with the bank. And he was like, I know you lying. Like, are you sure? That don't even sound right. They wouldn't do nothing like that. And, basically the same things that Andy said, right? Everybody's finding this hard to believe. Of course, Danny got to come in being sarcastic. Oh, look at the colors in here. Like, you already know it's damn Maurice's house. And then she gonna damn curtsy when she leaving. He tells her to put her number in his phone, and that if he hears anything, he's gonna hit her up. And she's like, okay. Then he tries Maurice one more time, after she leaves, and it just still goes straight to voicemail. And this time he leaves a message. So in the meantime, we get Danny at Karen's house. He knocks at the door. Her mother answers the door like, yes, can I help you? What are you doing here? Whatever. And he was like, can I see Karen? She was like, no, Karen is sleeping. I don't want to get her, upset. She needs her rest. The doctor got her on bed rest or whatever the case may be. So he was like, look, I'm not here to stress her out. At the end of the day, she calling my lady, cursing her out, calling her all kind of bitches and shit. And I can't have that. So she was like, well, is she a bitch? I said, wait a minute, mama. And she was like, no. He says, no, she's not a bitch and I'm not having it. He was like, she said, then there's no conversation here tonight, okay? So he was like, okay, well, I just need you to talk to her then. Can you at least talk to her? And she was like, me talk to her? He was like, yes, you. Can you talk to her? So he was like, I moved on, and she's not getting it. He was like, now, if this is my child and she gonna basically say, oh, you on the baby train too. I really didn't understand that part. But he was like I said, he says, you do know that this reverend could possibly be the father too. Okay, with all due respect, Miss Lisa, I'm not the only one she's been with. So as I said before, if this is my baby, okay, then, me, I'm going to do what I got to do and we going to have some shit to figure out. She was like, well, you're doing well and she'll be doing well. So I'm sure that y'all will do fine. And he was like, really? And she was like, yeah. I hope so, Miss Lisa, because so far it ain't looking good, okay? And she tells him, why don't you just go ahead home? And he was like, all right, Miss Lisa, and he leaves. So now Danny comes over to damn Andy's house, okay? And this is what Andy calls helping and searching and looking for damn Sabrina and making calls to see what's going down, because Miss Danny come walking in, honey, and Andy just riding Gary, okay, like he a damn pony, okay, riding on back, honey, living her best damn life. And Danny over here sneaking up to the front and then just was basically like, Andy. And then, of course, they both jump up, She like, Danny, what are you doing here? And Gary go running in the damn, bathroom, got all his stuff out. And Danny looking like, okay. And, she's saying, what are you doing here? And he heavy up and running, grabbing all his clothes or whatever the case may be, and running to the bathroom. And that was basically the episode, y'all. And that actually was 10 minutes longer than I even wanted to talk about it, okay? Child, what do y'all think is gonna happen? When do y'all think they gonna find out where the hell Sabrina and Maurice is at? Is Karen mother gonna be able to make her have some damn sense? Put it all in the comments, okay? Let's discuss. Like, comment, share, subscribe if you are so inclined. Give me a wave. Let me know you came by. Put some flames up in the sky. All right, y'all. Until next time.